It's the morning after the party. Yeah. I'm not doing a fireball shot this year because I kind of partook last night. It's still carrying over, so no, I'm teasing. It's really great that you all showed up this morning and are bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and all those things. Wow, this table's really big. I'm gonna trip for sure. I'm too klutzy to be up here and not fall. But thank you guys so much for coming. How many people came to Stacy's Secret Sauce in 2015 in Anaheim? Yay! I was there too. Anyway, but this is a kind of a continuation. So it's not a repeato, but I might make reference to some of the things that we mentioned in the last one. And we're going to have a lot of fun today. I'm going to try to keep you guys awake. That's not usually one of my priorities when I speak, but today it is. And number two, I want you guys to have actionable, practical tips that you can take home and implement right away when you get back to the office tomorrow or Monday if you played your cards right. Enjoy the weekend in Nashville. So cool. And what else? I want you to have a good time. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, that's me. So this was last time. We had 12 tips last time. Shout out what your favorite tip was last time that you got from the last one if you were here. I like Black Hole Buster. That's a good one. How many people have been doing the Follow-Up Friday or the Friday Feedback Blitz? Raise your hand. That's a good one. That's one of my favorites, too. So we had 12 last time, and here they are. If you missed it, at the end, I'm going to have a link to a Google Drive folder that has the other presentation, the deck, as well as the video, if you want to watch that one. Today, we're going to do 18 tips, because we're being really aggressive. So we're going to fit 18 tips in instead of 12. And we're definitely going to have time for Q&A. Definitely. Most definitely. All right. Oh, gosh, they didn't put the new one up. This is my, OK, it doesn't matter. Who cares? All right. By the way, I'll go back one more. My name is Stacy. I've been recruiting 20 years. I just want to give a little intro. I love recruiting. It is in my DNA. It's in my blood. You guys are going to sense that today. I hope to share some of that passion with all of you. I started a business 5 years ago called Tenfold, and I do consulting and training, et cetera, for companies. Help them kind of make their recruiting teams better in some way. Talent attraction, top of funnel stuff. And 5 months ago this week, I launched an extension to Tenfold called the Talent Agency. Anyone here heard of the Talent Agency yet? Yay! Join the Talent Agency. It's awesome. Basically, we are a talent network of recruiting professionals, TA, head of TA, all the way down to coordinators. Anybody in talent acquisition should join. And yes, it's recruiting for recruiting. I'm going to notify you about jobs that are interesting and relevant, so you don't have to kind of stay tapped into that. We'll tap you on the shoulder if you join. But mainly, there's going to be free training. There's going to be free events. There's going to be networking, all kinds of good stuff. It's 100% free and always will be. All right. Had to get that little plug in, thetalentagency.io. All right. Enough about that. Let's talk about our tips. Calendar chunking. This is an official term, chunking. I love calendar chunking because, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a little ADD, but how many of us feel like we're always distracted? Ooh, something shiny. Oh, a squirrel, right? As recruiters, this is one of our biggest challenges. We have to juggle 27 balls at any given time, and how do we keep it all straight without, every time you get distracted, it takes time to get back where you were. And so many of us, our calendar just looks like insane. It looks like, a bomb blew up in there, right? And I don't like it when things control me. I'm a little type A. I like to control outcomes. So I like to chunk my calendar. Not this chunk, although I do love this chunk. I just introduced my kids to Goonies a couple weeks ago. It's a little more grown up than I remember. Anyway. Oopsie. All right. I like to chunk my calendar because it helps keep me organized and efficient. And I hear all the time from recruiters, I don't have time to source. I'm so busy interviewing and meeting with hiring managers. So I always block an hour or 2 hours every morning just to do my sourcing. That way, it doesn't get bumped, it doesn't get interrupted. I block my calendar. People know, don't touch Stacy's calendar from 7 to 9 or whatever it is. I'm sourcing, and I'm heads down, and I'm focused. And this way, it doesn't get reprioritized. And then I might kind of chunk it out any which way. You'll notice I put the hiring manager meetings where? At the end, because I kind of don't mind if those get bumped out. No. But it also means that if I have to meet with my hiring managers in the afternoon, that morning I'm like, okay, which meetings do I not have resumes for? I better hurry up and source for those babies. So I put those at the end, I source in the morning. But your biorhythms might be, you know what, I'm feeling social in the morning. Me, I don't want to talk to people. I want to drink my coffee and like source in the morning. By afternoon, I'm ready to be more social, and I have my meetings then. But try to take control of your calendar a little bit and block time. Like sometimes I forget to eat lunch if I don't block my calendar. I don't know if anyone else is like that. I also haven't exercised since grunge was cool because I forget to block that on my calendar. So anyway. All right. I put all these with little hashtags in case you want to tweet them out. So this is the do not disturb. This, again, is a little bit of an efficiency tip. There are two types of people in this world, right? This is me, but I know some of y'all are out there. This is you, I know. Go ahead, raise your hand. You know who you are. Brian Adams, I saw you in the Uber last night. Your phone looked like a Christmas tree. Where are you? I was like, oh. Admit it. We get so distracted by the notifications in our phone that I'm literally on my desktop, and I get a little ding, a little email notification on my phone. I look at it, and I'm typing in my email as I'm typing to another email in my phone while I'm on my desktop. Or on Facebook, like I'm Facebook messaging on my phone while I'm on Facebook on my laptop. This is not a good way to be focused and get stuff done in our day. So I like to turn off notifications. You'll be amazed when you go in there, like stuff defaults on. The stuff you're getting notified about, like, ooh, words with friends. Like all day long, you're getting little things that are taking your eye off the game. And really, the trick of a good recruiter is not that we're smarter or that we're like better or we're fast. We get 12 hours of work in an 8-hour day. That's the really good recruiters can do that. And this is a really important thing. So don't turn them all off necessarily, but all that junk, get that stuff, clean up your phone. Just do it. I'm going to skip that one. The same goes for email. I don't know about you, but like, ding, you've got mail, 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 all day long. And I'm like, we're focused, and then we're responding to email, and then we're focused, and then we're responding to enough of that. So what I do, anyway, is I only check email at the top of the hour, and then I close that baby again. So like 5 minutes till I'm getting ready for my next meeting, maybe I'll check email, I'll make sure nothing's blowing up, no fires are happening, and then I'll close it again. And I respond to like the emergency stuff, but everyone knows I'm gonna see their message, but I'm not gonna respond to everything in real time, because you know what, I got my own priorities, right? So I don't know, try something to this effect. Maybe you close it for a little bit, maybe you practice closing your email. I know it's really hard, but I find that I get a lot more done when I'm not like a slave to my email. Killer intakes, killer. I believe intake meetings are really, without that kind of setting the tone from the very, very beginning on the right note, you're going down the wrong path, right? Unless that intake meeting is really thorough, really spot on, you know what you're talking about, you know what you're looking for. So this is a tip from the last time, hashtag the red pen. Don't just bring the red pen, which you can see from the other deck if you want, and don't just understand how to screen out, right? We always ask, what are the requireds, what are the desires, all that stuff, right? And that's important, but don't just understand how to weed out, because what are we doing all day? Are we posting jobs and waiting for applicants and then screening out? What are we doing most of our day? Between 7 and 9, there's a hint. Sourcing, and what are the people we're sourcing not looking for? Glenn just said it in his last talk. They're not looking for a job, right? So we need to know enough to not only screen out, but also to sell the role a little bit once we do get them on the phone. So you have to ask the important questions to really, get people interested. And these are some of the questions that I ask in my intake meetings. I'm going to click away real fast. You better take a picture. No. I hate that when I'm like, dude, go back, go back. But these are some of the questions. Of course, wants versus needs, pie-in-the-sky candidate. I really like to go for that ideal. In the beginning, all my requireds and desires in my Boolean search, they all have ands. Because I would rather have someone who has all the must-haves and all the nice-to-haves. And then I'll slowly lower the bar. Is there anyone on the team you'd like to clone? I ask about diversity goals, which companies would be really good to source from. I really kind of try to go beyond just the job description. Why would someone, this is a Lou Adler nod. Lou, are you here by any chance? Lou said this in a recent talk, and I immediately like, oh, that's good. He said, why would somebody who's in the top 20% of their field want to have this job? Why would they leave their job at XYZ company to come here? And I'm like, that's genius, right? Why would they? Because I need to know that. That's my value proposition that I'm positioning with my candidates as I'm talking to them and I'm trying to lure them away, right? So I also ask the hiring manager, how would your team members describe your management style? Because if you ask them, they're like, oh, I'm very collaborative, and I like to support my team. And you say, how would your team members? Well, they do admit sometimes I'm a little bit tough to work with, and I kind of micromanage when I get stressed. Like, all of a sudden, it's like Wonder Woman's magic lasso, and you get the real answer. All right, JiminyCricket. I have a stupid name for everything. I've been calling them these things forever. But do you ever leave an intake meeting and you're like, well, I kind of understand what I'm looking for. I'm going to just go out there and just dig for a little bit, and I'll send them a bunch of resumes, and we'll see what sticks, right? That's not a good intake meeting. If you don't leave that intake meeting with your shoulders back and be like, okay, I know exactly what I'm looking for. When I see it, I'll know it. I got this. If you don't leave with that level of confidence, that intake meeting wasn't as good as it could have been. So here's another thing that you can do in your intakes that will level up your game. I bring, even before I have the intake, I get the job description, I set up the kickoff meeting or intake meeting, and I go to that meeting, and I bring like 4 or 5 resumes. I might print them out. I'm going like I'm holding them. Or I might just electronically have them. But I bring them to the meeting. So once the intake meeting's done, and I go through the whole spec, and I understand exactly what I'm looking for, I'll go to those 3 to 5 resumes, and I'll say, great, here's a few resumes that I think might look good based on what we discussed. And I might pull 1 or 2 out based on what I learned in that intake. But I come with this to the intake meeting, and I say, can you just review this real quick out loud, and just think out loud with your thought process? And it's amazing. They'll be like, oh, they do this. Oh, they work at this company. I like that. Okay, oh, they work with that technology. Oh, that's not even on our spec. So I might add that. And they'll go like, oh, but look, they only were there 2 years. That's job hopping to me. I'm like, oh, well, that's good to know, too. Or they'll say, oh, look at this school. Or like, I don't care about that school. Like, whatever it is, some of the things that they'll say out loud as they're reviewing the resume will be super insightful. So I play JiminyCricket. I like sit on their shoulder and watch them read the resume, basically. So try that. And plus, you'll really impress your hiring manager if you show up with some resumes from right off the bat. They're like, wow, okay, yeah, call these people. These look good. All right, driving referrals. Referrals, employee referrals, by their very nature, are somewhat reactive in nature. We talked about this last time. I don't like to be in reactive mode, right? I don't like to be like, please, who do you know? Send me people, please. I like to drive and affect outcomes and be in, like, driving that process forward. So I don't like to ask people who they know. This is also a Glenn Cathy nod. I always have to have a Glenn Cathy nod in every talk because he's my sourcing mentor. It's the Glenn Cathy Easter egg at every talk. Anyway, I like to not ask people who they know. I like to tell them who they know. And we're going to talk about that in a sec. So I always, after the intake meeting, I go to their next staff meeting. I always introduce myself. Hi, I'm Stacy. I'm going to be your recruiter. Yay. And we're all going to be working on this position a little bit together because it takes a team here effort to fill this position. And we all have a little vested interest in filling this role because you guys are working till 6 or 7 at night to compensate for that person that's not on your team right now. And so I might ask them specifically, who's the best XYZ that you know? And they're sitting there, oh, what about this person? And I'll get a little list of names right just from that. And then I connect with each of them, the hiring team members, on LinkedIn. And I tell them, I won't spam you, I won't spam your friends. But I go digging, right? And here's how you do it. I mean, and I know there are other ways to do this too, but this is how I do it. I know this guy named Greg Zapar. He put a ring on it. He's a UX engineer. Score. I'm very smart. I'm a recruiter because those guys are hard to find. So I plug in Greg Zapar, hypothetically, and I plug in UX, and I already have UX designer. This is just in the regular LinkedIn. But I plug in UX, and I run a search. And boom, I've got 41 people that he's connected to first level that are UX engineers. And I might go through that list and be like, hey, dude, here's like 5 people that I think look great. Do you know them? Thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you think? Should I reach out? Can you reach out? Because they know you. They don't know me, right? It doesn't have to be your husband. You can plug in your hiring team member. But I just ask for a quick feedback. Yep, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And then I reach out from there or have them reach out. My response rate when I do this, by the way, what do you think it is? High. It's like 90, 95%. So they'll be like, yes, yes, this person's good. We should definitely call them. Oh, heck no, we should not call them. Okay, that's good too. It's good to know. The 5% that don't respond back to us, that means that our team member is there, heck no, in their minds, right? So, and then, of course, you can have a sourcing party. Invite all your team members after work or at 4 o'clock. Get some beer, get some pizza. If you call it a party, people will come. The beer helps. And then we just do some sourcing, and I'll project on the screen. I'll do a little live sourcing. They plug in the same search string. I get my search results, but everyone in the room gets different search results. And then we'll write some outreach emails, and they'll just email their friend right away. So all of a sudden, we're getting tons of warm, vetted leads that these people have worked with before, that they know personally. This is awesome. This drives referrals, right? It isn't just begging. So do this. TreeRingSourcing. This is my personal method. I know there's a lot of different ways to source, but I always like to go for that pie in the sky right off the bat. That's my personal preference. So the way that I source is I start with that like perfect. They have all the requireds and they have all the desireds. I have ands everywhere in my Boolean string. And I go for that perfect candidate. And if I can't find someone in that batch, maybe there's only 5 of them, and I reach out and what have you. But maybe I'll slowly expand my tree rings, and I might put some ors in there, or maybe I'll start 5 minutes from the office, or 5 miles or 10 miles away from the office, right? Because somebody that's currently commuting an hour and a half each way to work, hello, Bay Area, you know what I'm talking about. I've made that drive many times. It is not fun. All of a sudden, somebody's got a 10-minute commute to work. You just turned a very not active job seeker or passive candidate into somebody who wants to talk to you. They just got, 2 hours or hour and a half back on their day with their kids and their family. So start real narrow and then work your way out. That's what I do. I know Glenn has a million different ways to source, but that's my method. So anyway, the perfect outreach, this is kind of a no-brainer. This is one you're going to say, Stacy, we already know all these things. We've been to Talent Connect for 3 days now. We've already know all this stuff. But I'll just remind y'all. TLDR, do not write a book in your initial outreach message. Do not. Why not? TLDR, right? It's too long, didn't read. What does it look like the second it is this 10-paragraph thing? What does it look like? You type that just for them, right? No, that looks like a horrible spammy template. The shorter it is, the more it looks like you just wrote them a note for them. That's what they want. I'm targeted, of course, I personalize it. Always throw something in there. Mention their blog posts that they wrote. Mention something that they shared on Twitter. Show that you really don't just... I saw your profile on LinkedIn today, and I was very impressed. We have an exciting career opportunity. There it is, right? We sound like a bot. So don't say, I found you in our ATS, and we have a really hot rec. They don't know what an ATS is, or a RECWA, right? They don't know, and that's just a turnoff. Don't speak recruiter to people. Just talk to them like a human. I put my own personality in there. I put little smileys. I at least have 2 smileys in every email. I know it's shameful. I should just hang my head in shame. But I'm just a smiley person. What can I say? So that's me. And I say folks. I don't just say, we're looking for top talent. I'm like, we're looking for really strong UX folks right now. That's just me. But put your personality into your outreach message. And people, it's a lot harder to ignore a real person than it is some recruiter bot. Right? So much, they'll just hit delete on that. Don't be deleted. Don't make it about you and your rec. We need, I need, we have this need, we're growing, we're doing this, all this. Carmen Hudson said this one time from Recruiting Toolbox, and it stuck with me. I just thought it was a great way to kind of sum it up. Don't make it about me, myself, and I. Make it about, hey, I noticed that you've been doing XYZ at blah, blah company, and we're doing this project that's sort of a next step of that. I think you could come in, hit the ground running, and really have a lot of impact and kind of build a great next step in your career path, something like that. Make it about them, not about you, right? So make it the next step in their career. Aren't my pictures good? I'm kidding. They're so cheesy. Stockart.com. All right. Do not sell the company or the job in your initial outreach message. Just get them to respond back to you. We just want to get them on the phone. Hey, baby, call me, right? That's all we want. Do not sell the company or the job, because you don't know what they want yet until you talk to them. So once you get them on the phone, then you can start dangling some carrots, and you know what their motivators are, and you can actually have that rapport start being built, and you can be effective. Don't be this guy. Hey, what's it going to take to get you in this job today? Do you want the undercoding? No. Don't ask people for referrals in your initial outreach message. That's another Glenn Cathy thing. That's like going into a bar and saying to a woman, hey, baby, what's your name? And they turn you down, and you're like, do you have a hot sister? Don't. You're interested in them and only them. Make them feel special. All right, the 3-step. I've talked about this a lot on stage, so I apologize if you guys have already heard this one, but I can't emphasize it enough. If candidates are not responding back to you, and by definition, none of us have a 100% response rate, right? But how do we drive up our response rate? Do not email people and then give up and start over a whole new search and email all those people or email all those people. What you need to do is do the 3-step. Do your initial outreach, right? Short and sweet, conversational, no bots, no recruiter speak. 2 or 3 days later, if I haven't heard, I get about a 45% response rate on my first message. 2 or 3 days later, if I haven't heard back yet, I just send a quick little update and I say, hey, still interested in chatting with you. The hiring team is actually still interested in speaking with you. We've started to move forward with some interviews. I would hate for you to miss the bus. Do you have just a few minutes to chat this week? Real non-committal. I need a 30-minute interview. Send me your resume. 10 times you're available. Just do you have a few minutes to chat this week? It's really easy for them to say yes to that. My response rate, because I've created this sense of urgency and I've made it clear that I want to speak to them personally, my response rate goes up to about 65% now. If I still haven't heard back, I send this really mean email in all caps that says third and final attempt. No, I don't do that. I just send a little sweet little thanks anyway, right? Our moms taught us to send little thank you notes. So I just send a little note that says, hey, it sounds like now's not a good time. I totally get it. Here's a link to my LinkedIn. Let's stay in touch down the road. Thank you so much. Let's stay in touch. Something very just nice and saying thank you. They've read 3 of your emails now. But guess what? They think they've missed the bus now, so now my response rate after that one jumps up to about 85%. Do this thing. And don't just always send it the same way. Maybe you tweet them, maybe you email them, maybe you in-mail. I know people who are texting. I'm not quite there yet, but I know I need to be. I absolutely know I need to be. Somebody yell at me right now, like, Stacy, you've got to be texting. But in outreach, I'm a little bit shy still. But change it up, or change the sender. Have the hiring team member or the peer appear on the team send a message. Oh my gosh, a hiring manager reaches out, they're much more likely to respond back than some like recruiter. Oh, we're horrible people. All right. Self-scheduling, I love this. This is a no-brainer. I like to automate tasks that are manual. I don't like to manually spend all my time doing kind of administrative things. I like to automate that, and anything that's rapport building or strategic, I want to focus my time on. So I'm a big fan of using scheduling tools like this. I just have my calendar online. I send them that link in my outreach message. And I'm like, hey, do you have a few minutes to chat? And they just hop on my calendar. They pick a time. It's a very clean interface. They pick a time. It immediately goes on their calendar and mine, blocks both times. And I wake up in the morning and log in and do my little, check my email first thing in the morning. And I have 6 interviews on my calendar, and I didn't have to lift a finger. I have 6 phone interviews already on my calendar. There are free tools. You want to know the names, don't you? This is what the interface looks like. How clean is that, right? It's easy. And here are some tools that do that. Some are free, some have paid versions, but check them out. You can book me, but there's a lot of different tools. Some work with Gmail, some work with Outlook. Anyway, try it out, but I highly recommend this. I like to pre-connect with candidates, right? I don't want to go into an interview and neither of us know anything about each other. Maybe they had time to cyberstalk you, maybe they didn't. They didn't have time to go and look at you on LinkedIn. But if I send them an invite to connect on LinkedIn before our phone interview, once they respond back before we actually talk, I feel like it makes it a little bit warmer. They can check you out. You can kind of, I don't know, it feels like a warmer introduction. So I always connect with my upcoming phone interviews on LinkedIn before the call. Besides, after the call, they might not want to connect with you, but now I connect and I can see all their connections and all that. It's horrible. Shh. But I don't know. This is just something I like to do, and it just makes that little warm intro. All right, phone contacts. I know, how many people use their cell phone for all their work? Or do you have a cell phone users? Anybody? How many people have an actual desktop phone, with the curly cord and all that? Okay. I use my cell phone for everything because it's just more efficient and everything's in one place. Plus I work from home and all that. But how many times do you get either an unknown caller or the phone number that you don't recognize? How many people always pick up? I expect to see 5 hands. Yeah, 4. Okay, 4 hands, right? I just send that stuff to voicemail every time. If I don't know the number, I'm not picking up. No way. Have you ever accidentally picked up and wish you hadn't? Yeah, I don't really have an update right now. Oh, I know I needed to send you something. Yeah, can we have a do-over and I just send you to voicemail? Okay, I wasn't ready for this. This is my favorite picture ever. So I always, as soon as I talk to a phone interview candidate and I like them and I know I'm going to submit them, I already have their number in my phone. I just go in there and I put their name real quick. And then I do hashtag. For me, I do hashtag TTA, the talent agency, whatever it is. But you can put hashtag whatever. And I put them in my phone. I put my hiring managers in my phone. I'm never caught off guard. I never accidentally pick up, and I never actually miss a call that I wanted to get either. That's the worst. Like that offer's out, and the guy calls you back, and you're like, I don't know that number. Oh, is my offer candidate? What do they want to know? So I put the hashtag there because once a month I just go through and I search by that hashtag, and I just clean it back up because I don't want to fill up my contacts with former candidates. But this is just a nice way to kind of be on your A game a little bit, and I use that hashtag. So. Expectation setting. I like to set expectations because it creates a better candidate experience. It makes the process go more smoothly. It makes them hold on or hurry up with other offers and things. So it's not so much a matter of, everybody's kind of not sure what to expect next, right? Okay, that's what expectation setting is. That was the most obvious statement I've made all day. All right, transparency is key. Set expectations and then meet them. It's not that hard. This is the difference between a chasing your tail recruiter and a recruiter who's got their stuff together. So really try to have your stuff together, communicate with your candidates up front what's going to happen next, and you're going to all have a better experience. So I always tell my candidates, if you're watching on the live stream and I didn't send you an update last Friday, I apologize, I was getting ready for LinkedIn. But most of the time, almost every time, it works 30% of the time, it works every time, or whatever that quote is. But I tell them, you'll never go into the weekend without hearing from me. And this is, you guys kind of maybe heard this last time. But I like to make sure that they know my door is open, call me anytime, and you won't ever go into the weekend. Even if there's no news, I'm going to let you know. Even if it's a quick text or I send an email out, I can message through my system, whatever it is. That way people don't go into the weekend like, what's going on? And always block time. Fridays from 3 to 5. Sometimes it's 3 to 7, depending on how big my pipeline is. I block my calendar, and this is from last time, I know. But everybody gets a quick little update on Friday afternoon. I don't like to interview on Friday afternoons. No one else likes to interview candidates, hiring managers, us. Just use that time administratively. Give everybody a quick update. Update your ATS. Go off in the weekend. Everybody's on ice. Your system's all updated, and you will enjoy your weekend infinitely more. Do this for selfish reasons and for candidate experience. And yeah, and in the picture here, you can see, at Zappos, we did this with blasting music. The whole team did it together, and we had adult beverages, and we did this every Friday, and it was awesome. It was a lot of fun. Why not make start the weekend a little early at work, right? Okay, this is going to make me sound old school, but I'm going to own it. And this is the one I was like, oh, everyone's going to think I'm so old. I am so old, so it's okay. I'll own it. The rack 'em and stack 'em. I don't know. I like this. How many people here, be honest, and don't be afraid, because I'm about to raise my hand too. How many people here write out their phone interview notes still on a piece of paper as you're interviewing? Yeah, you're my people. I tend to remember it better. I can somehow write faster, and I have little places on the paper where I always write the same things, and I know where to look. If I'm just typing it, A, it's like clickety-clack, clack, 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 clack. And B, I just somehow is not as consistent for me. And maybe I'm an old dog, and I've been doing this 20 years, and new tricks are hard. But I actually still write it out by hand. And I actually have this exact little stacking tray from IKEA. It, too, can be yours for $19.99 at IKEA. It's metal and heavy. It's really nice. It has cork lining. It's beautiful. Anyway, and I actually stack my candidates in this little tray, my phone interview notes. All my left messages are at the top, people I outreach to and haven't heard back. Then I have my phone interviews, my on-sites, all my offer candidates, and all my sign-offs are at the bottom. And then on the Friday feedback blitz, I pull them all out, and I got a big old fat stack, and I just one by one go through and make sure every single person has an update. I reslot them wherever they go, and I go off into my weekend. And that sounds ridiculous that I use a paper system to organize myself, but I swear nobody falls through the cracks this way. And in an ATS, they often can. In your email, they often can. Here, there's nobody who's in my hopper, in the pipeline, that slips through the cracks because of this method. I know that sounds crazy, but I have my papers in my bag right now. I just implemented an ATS that actually does this digitally for me. They have sort of a Trello board of candidates. Dwight Schrute and Michael Scott are in the phone interview stage in this example. So I have the same thing. It's kind of like my stacking trays in my ATS, considering these are the people we've contacted. These are the people we followed up. Remember the 3-step? I'm able to keep track of them in my ATS. These are my phone interviews, my submitteds, interviews, et cetera. This tool's called Loxo. But I love this. So try to find a way, even if you use some method, but find a way to make sure that you're tracking people through the stage and no one slips through the cracks. I'm a big believer that this is absolutely like my secret weapon, and I've never shared it before because I don't want to seem old school, but like paper recruiter. But I am. I'm old school paper recruiter, and I own it. All right. I did take a survey in a Facebook group recently, and about 45 of us are still writing down, a whole bunch of people responded. About 45 of us are still writing down our interview notes, so I'm not alone. Interview prep. A third, the Candidate Experience Awards, the Talent Board, they do a big survey of thousands and thousands of candidates. A third of candidates receive no interview prep whatsoever. None. That's sad to me. You're not setting your candidate up for success if they come in and they're like, they have the schedule maybe, and that's it. They don't know anything else. I always have my coordinator, I've written it up, I have my coordinator send it out, or I do. I make sure that my candidates walk into that interview knowing what to expect, if something goes wrong, what to do. I give them this emergency contact and cell number. That's not like in case of death, who do I call? That's if they're stuck in the interview room and nobody shows up and they've been there 15 minutes and they're just sitting there. They need a lifeline. Give them your cell phone or the coordinator's cell phone. Give them a lifeline. Make this experience positive. If you were having guests over to your home, you would ask them about meal preferences, or if you're serving them lunch, or allergies, like little things, where to park. Every candidate still asks what to wear. They don't know, and we're like, well, just wear like what we wear. Like, they don't know what you wear because they haven't been there yet. That's the whole point of coming into interview. All right. And I also prep my hiring team members. I'm like, if you show up to that interview and whip out that resume for the first time, I will know, and I will come down and I will find you. Look at that resume before the interview. You better. All right. The magic question. The magic question. I love this. This is my favorite thing. Everyone always asks me, what's your favorite interview question, Stacy? This is it. Interviewees oftentimes leave an interview and they're like, I didn't even get to talk about that award that I won, or I didn't even get to talk about this really cool project I worked on that's exactly relevant. They just feel like something is unsaid. They leave unsettled. They leave not feeling good. Even if they didn't get the job, if they felt like they fully were able to sell themselves, they leave with a better positive experience. But this isn't just about candidate experience. This is also about us. I ask at the end of every phone interview and on-site, mostly on-site interview, but phone interviews sometimes I do too. I need to be better about this. But I ask them, is there anything that didn't come up today that you think would be helpful for me to know? Is there anything that didn't come up today that you think would be helpful for me to know? It's amazing what an open-ended question like that will tell you. Oh, I need a visa transfer. Oh, I can't work on Fridays because I don't have childcare. Oh, don't check a reference with my last company because we're actually involved in a lawsuit right now. I actually heard that when asking this question one time. No lie. I found that out. I was like, whoa, good to know. Awkward smile. Where's that emoji like with the teeth? Like, Anyway, that's what that face was. But okay, great. You'll find out I have another offer and I need to respond back by Thursday. Oh, gosh, I'm glad I asked this question because that's really important for me to know. We got to hustle, right? All kinds of things. So you'll find out good stuff, you'll find out bad stuff, but whatever you find out, it's something that really was helpful. So this little catch-all at the end is really helpful. I hope you guys will ask it. Declined offers, everyone's favorite thing. How do we avoid declined offers? There's nothing worse than a declined offer. We made it all the way to the finish line. We had the one. He was the one. And they turned you down. Womp, womp. How do we avoid this? I am superstitious as a recruiter. I'm very superstitious about a few things. And one of them is if you do not have a Plan B candidate lined up, your Plan A candidate for sure will drop out. It's just a given, right? So even if you have a candidate in the final stage and they're perfect, keep interviewing. Do not stop interviewing because you will jinx it and they will fall out, I promise you. But really, you should always keep running to the finish line. Have that silver medalist lined up just in case something goes wrong, because there's nothing worse than getting all the way to the end. You've been working this rec 2 months, you have an offer, it gets declined, and you start all over. That's not good. Keep going. Run to that finish line. Do not coast into first base. My softball coach would tell me that. Overrun the base. And always get a verbal yes before you send out that offer. I don't like to send an offer and then we're playing negotiating and we're rewriting offers and No. What's it going to take for you to say yes? And I figure it all out. Okay, we ready? You're going to say yes if we do that, right? Okay, good. Now I'll send the written offer. Do not send it and then play a negotiating game, because then they can shop it around, or if they have bad motives, they have that written offer, and they can use it at their current job for a counter, or they can use it at other companies. Get a verbal yes, and then sign that deal and have a short turnaround time. I like to lock them in. The happy new hire. We're going to do okay on time. Yay. I'm looking over here at my LinkedIn friends on the end. Okay, I'm going to have time for questions. I never have that. That's awesome. The happy new hire. There's nothing worse than having a candidate make it all the way through and say yes, and then between the time they accept, what's happening until they actually start? Now is not the time to take your eye off the prize. Keep them warm. That would be even worse than a declined offer, right? Keep those babies nice and toasty, right? Keep your candidates warm. Have your hiring manager send a quick email. Have them pick up the phone. You can send a little email. You don't have to like stalk them every day, but do a little something to show that you're really excited that they're starting. And do they have any questions? Something nice. Atlassian actually sends a welcome basket to the person's front desk, their front door, within 24 hours of an acceptance. And they personalize it if the person's really into golf or they just had a new baby. They ship them a beautiful, customized welcome basket. Now, I don't have that kind of budget, personally, right? And you may not either. But what a nice little touch. Maybe you send a little handwritten letter. A handwritten letter. How many of us love getting those from candidates, like on an actual card? Like, you get your little push pin and push it up on your cube or your wall, like, oh, I got a thank you note, look. I love that, right? Do something to acknowledge them. All my candidates on their first day, they have a little plant waiting for them. It says the talent agency. It's good for branding. But a little something to warm up their desk on their first day. What are you doing to make sure their onboarding experience is positive? I can't steal credit for this one, but I learned about it in some Facebook group. Somebody shared this. But on the way to the interview, they're walking to the interview room, on the day of their interview, and you're walking past the little kitchenette area. You're like, oh, what's your favorite candy? We have a bunch of candy. Oh, I love Kit Kats. Okay, cool, here's a Kit Kat. Yeah, okay, we go. Seems like an innocuous little question, right? But on their first day, guess what he does? He's got a little bowl of Kit Kats waiting for him on their desk. How simple and easy is that? But what a great feeling. You sit down and you're like, oh, he remembered that Kit Kats were my favorite candy. Like little things, like I get little goosebumpies from that. I just like little things to make people feel welcome, because your first day is scary. It's like the first day of middle school, and it's like all new people, and you're all gawky and everything. Like Mean Girls, you can't sit with us. On Wednesdays, we wear pink. I didn't wear pink today. It was Thursday. I'm good. All right. But yeah, make sure they have somewhere to go on their first day, make lunch, make sure their hiring manager, do little things. I know it's technically HR's job, and we're not HR. But make sure they have someone to take them to lunch. You don't have to do it, but make sure, just check in. That first day lunch is scary. I don't know. I definitely would be the one sitting in the bathroom stall, like eating by myself. All right, last but not least, I truly believe, somebody asked me this week, and I forget who, and I apologize. What is the number one tip that you can give to make somebody a great recruiter? And I believe this sounds, I know, all treacly and like, oh, Pollyanna-ish, whatever. But I truly believe that if you love your job and you are passionate, and you can probably tell, I love this job, it makes you good at it. If you love what you do, right? If you have a case of the Mondays every day, we have a problem. And I talk to a lot of recruiters in my new business, right? Interviewing recruiters, 10 a day, I'm talking to you guys. And I meet a lot of people that just don't love their job, and you can tell. And I think to myself, what a sad thing. You guys cannot leave. No. I'm actually catching a lift the second I get off the stage because my flight takes off at 12:25 somehow. That was a bad idea. Anyway, but I believe that if you do not love your job, do something to change it. Fix it. Talk to your boss. Get some training. Change up your duties a little bit. Recruit for something new. Change the channel. Read some blog posts. Talk to people. Find a mentor. Do something to make you love your job again if you lost that passion. And if you do love your job, it will show. It comes through. Your hiring managers will know it. Your candidates will know it. You'll be kicking butt up there, man. You will be doing your thing. So the last thing I can say is just be proud. I'm proud to be a recruiter. A lot of people are like, oh, you're a recruiter. I'm like, yes, I'm a recruiter, and I'm very proud. I love my job, right? So be proud, shoulders back, love what you do, be passionate. Everything else that I talked about will all work itself out. I really believe that. So here's the link. Don't check it until after I get on the plane and I upload things in there. But here's the link. You can get the deck, and you can get a few goodies that I'm going to throw in there, and last time's deck and some other good stuff. But here's the link. Go check that out. There's a little goodie bag for you guys. And I really thank you very much for your time. Here's the link to join the talent agency if you want to, and there's the link again. Contact me anytime. Let's link in with me, all that good stuff. But thank you. So I guess we have a little bit of time for questions. If you have a question, I can just repeat it if you want, or you can go to the mic. It's up to you. I don't know if we'll have questions for this kind of talk. Mass exodus. Must get to airport. I feel ya. Save me a seat in the cab. Any questions? Yes, question here.
Can you talk about I love the no weekend, like you'll always hear back.
Yep.
What is like the volume of candidates?
Okay, so the question was, if I'm doing the follow-up Friday or the Friday feedback blitz, what is the volume of candidates? I typically will have 40 to 50, 60 candidates, and that's why I have that little stack of paper, and I just go through. A lot of it's copy-paste. There's no news, but we have 2 more interviews next week, and then we're making our decision on next steps. So, yeah, you might have quite a few, but that's why I block 2 full hours. Yes, question?
You are very nice and seem very endearing. So
Thank
I'm
you.
curious to know.
I like you too. You seem very nice now.
Yeah, thanks. That's not what everyone tells me. But I'm curious to know, what is your message typically if you present a candidate that you think might be actually viable for a job, but you have a little question and then the hiring manager doesn't want to meet them, and you agree to that. What's your message to candidates?
Well, I kind of have sort of a statement that tends to be true in all circumstances and doesn't make it personal against them. I always like to leave things on a positive. So I usually just say, whether I'm signing them off sort of earlier in the process or at the end, I'll often say, you know what, we have a lot of great candidates in the hopper right now, or a lot of great people that we're talking to. At this time, the hiring teams decided to pursue candidates who are a little bit more closely aligned to the job, or they have more relevant industry experience, or whatever it is. So I kind of just make it sound like, you were so great, but there was just a few others that were just a little bit closer, and we can't, you know. And people tend to accept that because it's the truth, right? That's not untrue. But it's not like, you know, you really said this one thing in the interview and it was a horrible thing to say, or, you know, like I don't get personal to them. I very rarely get super personal in my feedback, and I know that that's controversial in some ways, but I prefer to leave things on a positive and just say that. So at this time, the hiring team's decided, I always pointed at them, like, not me. Right. The hiring team has decided to pursue other candidates at this time who more closely, a little bit more closely fit the requirements for the role or whatever it is. So something to that effect.
Hi, Stacy. I'm Jamie Pogue with Gallup. So
nice
great
to meet
you. Loved your session.
Thank you.
And I found you on social media several years ago.
Yes.
And I just wanted to ask, could you tell us how you've leveraged your social media networks for recruiting and just kind of building your brand online?
Yeah, every single time I've closed out a candidate since 2005, or every single time I closed out a rec since 2005, there might be 250 applicants in that rec, but we might have only talked to 10 or 15 of them. The other 235, I send a quick email and I close the loop with them. I call it the black hole buster. It was from last talk. And I just say, you know what, thanks so much for applying. We'd love to stay in touch. At this time, we've decided to, you know, and I sign them off and I close the loop with them so they don't just apply and never hear back. And at the end, I'll say, you know what, I'm happy to help you network, either for future positions at my company or other companies here in town or whatever. I offer to help them. And I'm like, if you'd like, here's my link to my LinkedIn. I'm happy to link in with you, yada, yada. And that's how my network grew pretty big. Every time I would send that email, I'd get about 100 and, you know, about 50% would send me an invite. Now I'm connected to 150 financial analysts in my backyard who want to work for my company and all of their financial analyst friends. So to me, that on LinkedIn was my method. I know that that's not, you know, your mileage may vary. Not everyone wants to connect with a bunch of people. I did this back before there was LinkedIn Recruiter, and I'm old, like I said. But yeah, I believe in Twitter. I believe in any of the social channels. Talk about what you're passionate about. Talk about what your candidates are interested in, right? get a captive audience, know kind of what your thing is, and just stick to it, and you'll grow an audience that way. But I believe that networking is not just about what you can take and what you can get, but what you can give back. And so as recruiters, we're in a unique position to help job seekers network and introduce. It's very easy to send introduction requests, right? It takes 2 seconds. So I always try to have a kind of a give back angle or component to my networking, and that's, I think, kind of really, when you do that and you're not always just take, push, talk about me, people see that. And so to me, I think we all could do a little bit more giving back to our networks, and everything else would kind of work itself out a little bit. So.
Awesome, thanks.
Thank you. We're out of time, guys, I think. If you have any other questions, tweet me. You have all my contact info here, and I'm happy to try to get back to you as soon as possible. So thank you.